Alright, so here's a steering box from a 1976 Ford Bronco, and it leaks terribly here, you can see that. So we're gonna kind of take this rebuild kit here. It's from NAPA. I think this is the part number, and this kit comes with a bunch of different seals and everything that you need here to hopefully reseal it. So the first thing we're gonna do is take the pitman arm off really quick and kind of scrape some of the grease off. Alright, so we're 2 minutes in here and we couldn't get the pitman arm off super easily, so we're instead just going to pop this back plate off and see if we can't get the shaft to come out with the pitman arm right on it. Alright, well, with some heat here, we got the pitman arm to come off. That was kind of a frustration at first, and it made it a little easier to get this, take this plate off, then put it on the press, because it's nice and flat here. So you could actually press the arm up against this case. I was a little worried we were going to crack the case, but it turned out fine and everything looks good. So now we'll probably get in there after that snap ring, and this whole shaft should, I think, come out. Okay, so we got the big retainer ring off the back side over here, the bottom side, and then also pulled there was that piece with the little goofy nut here that you use the channel locks on, and then now we just got to unscrew this piece down in here. That's the worm gear portion, and that should come out. Okay, we were able to basically dump the worm gear and this little thrust bearing and some other items, including these ball bearings, out. We were able to dump those out here, and we don't really even know how many we got, but we'll get them all here, and then we'll push the piston out the backside. Okay, so I forgot to hit record, but basically took a extension and pushed down, and it pushed the cap and all the pieces that were with this out the bottom. Alright, so we pulled out this final seal. This would have been on the, I believe, the pitman arm side right here. So now it is a bare case minus, there's a bearing set, one here and one like right here down inside there. So we're going to get it cleaned up and maybe even throw a coat of paint on it. Alright, so we actually got this out of the parts washer here, and then realized there was another seal and another little metal spacer plate like right here. So just had to get another seal out, and now we're good to go. Now I'm going to take this O-ring. This O-ring was underneath the Teflon style ring there. So slip that over, and then I'm going to try and just gently slip this guy over without breaking him. Okay, so in this kit there's two seals here that look about the same, but one's a little thicker than the other. And so the first one to go in is the thin one. We'll push that one in. Then we'll put a little plate. There's a little metal plate, and then we'll do the next one on there. So we're going to look for a driver now. Alright, so now I have the piston here with the Teflon ring on it. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and take all those little ball bearings right here. Take all the ball bearings and shove them down in here, and they have to lay in there in such a way that this whole tube is full, and then all the route in between this outlet right here, there's like a little flange right there. the tube outlets between them two have to be full of bearings. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just dipping each one of the bearings in grease, and then I'm just shoving it down into that tube. Okay, now that whole tube is full and it's popping out the other side. Now I'm just going to lay them in the kind of threaded portion here. Alright, well, I think I got that sorted. Basically, you can see the balls are all sitting in there in between the little tube ends and the threads in between there, so it should be okay. Alright, so this worm gear is cleaned up now, and so I have the piston pushed in from the end all the way till it stops, and now I'm going to take this guy and basically thread him down into the area where the ball bearings are, and hopefully none of them fall out. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so now you can see this is the worm gear, shaft coming through here, and obviously I did it vertically, so there would be, if any of the ball bearings fell out, they'd be right here on this rag, but none of them did, so that's great. So now I can put this little nut back on, that's no problem, and then keep going on this thing. Alright, so the next portion I'm going to work on is this piece here. So you want to just take and pull this sucker apart like that. This O-ring went on the very back here, or the top of the worm gear, and we can kind of take this apart and replace all the seals in here. Okay, so now the O-rings have been stripped off of here, so now I'm going to just get this center shaft out of here. Alright, so to assemble this, first you get this guy slipped down in there with his new O-ring. So just don't want to pinch it there. You can just kind of slide it in nice and easy. So then you take this little pin right here, and you want to line that up with the bottom hole right there. You can see there's 4 holes all the way around, but there's only one lower hole. So you'll push this through quite a ways here. So then you can come right here, grab it, and use that hole like that. There you go. Now you're locked in. Now you can manipulate this whole thing. Now you turn and see this key and that pin right there. You gotta match those up. So while you hold it in here, you just come down here and push it down, and there. Then it's snapped all together. This thing's sucked down in there a little bit. This still wobbles around a little bit, and that's how you do it. Alright, so now I'm gonna start stripping down this piece here, take a few O-rings off. Alright, so if you wanted to replace the bearing, now would be the time, but we're good here, so I'm going to go ahead and put a new seal in here. Alright, so I have it goes the bearing, then there's a seal, then there's this top, like just a secondary seal, I suppose, and then the snap ring. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and replace these 3 here. I already picked them off, but basically I'm gonna try and stretch it as little as possible. Alright, so before you put this home, there's an O-ring that goes on here, so don't forget that down in there. It's just sitting, it's a real thin one. Okay, so when you're putting this down, you gotta kind of twist this guy and hold on the back side and make sure that the those little two ears actually meet up with this piece, and then you can start screwing this guy down. Alright, so I got this nut moderately tightened down. I'm waiting for the right tool so I can actually tighten it up. But anyway, if you look down in here, I need to now turn here and adjust this so that the teeth come into the window here so that I can put this shaft back in. Alright, so now you can see that the teeth are all centered up there, so it should be no problem to put that shaft in. Alright, well, I'm not 100% sure here, but this gasket is not exactly symmetrical. It has like a more pronounced side and then a faded back side. So I don't really know which side goes where. So I think the more pronounced side goes in this O-ring. It fits a little bit better. It seems to make a little more sense. It's still pronounced here, and there's no relief on the actual box to accept a huge gasket. So I think this is the way, but anyway, regardless, you just bend this over like this here, and bend this over, and then put it up. Okay, so one of the last steps here is you just take this O-ring, grease it up, and lay it in here like this. Then put a little grease on the cap. Then you can try and shimmy this ring in here. Alright, so got this nut tightened down. We got a tool. I don't know if it's the right tool. I don't think it is. It's a piece of crap. It's like a tool for basically tightening different size grinders. Got that tightened down, then also tighten the nut here as well, and then put the pitman arm on and got that tightened down, and we think clocked about right to where we were, and so I think we're okay there. So if you just take your channel locks here and grab extra gently here, yeah, there's a little play there, but again, I think that might just be because it's, you know, still basically a wore out box, but I don't know if you can see that. It is actually moving the arm back and forth. So anyway, if something was wore out inside there, changing the seals really isn't going to change that. So if there's a little play, that's just kind of the way it is. So we'll see how it goes. No guarantees here, but hopefully it doesn't move.